Welcome to Ambassador's Daily Banquet. I am God's servant David F. Nwefulu. Prepare your heart for fresh revelation that will empower your faith.
You know, when you think about the leaders you admire, we often measure their success by things like quarterly reports or big projects they finished. But what if the truest measure of leadership isn't what's built in a single lifetime, but what actually endures long after they're gone? Today, we're going to dive into this really profound idea, legacy leadership, and what it really means to leave a lasting kingdom impact.
And you know, this idea, it's not new at all. In fact, it's ancient. This instruction from Deuteronomy really gets to the very heart of it. It's this idea that, hey, it's not just about what you believe personally. It's about intentionally creating this chain of faith and wisdom, a spiritual inheritance that gets passed from one generation to the next, making sure that link never, ever breaks.
Okay, so we have this foundational idea, but what does this concept of legacy leadership actually look like when the rubber hits the road? Let's really define what we're talking about.
At its absolute core, legacy leadership is just a huge shift in focus. It's all about cultivating the stuff that actually lasts, right? Things like faith, character, spiritual growth. The real test isn't your immediate success, but that positive ripple effect that keeps going for generations, long after you've passed the torch to someone else.
Now, this kind of lasting impact, it doesn't happen by accident. Nope, it's built on three really essential pillars. First, it has to be intentional. I mean, you have to actively plan to develop other people. Then, it's deeply relational. It has to be founded on real, genuine mentorship. And finally, it's visionary. You're always looking beyond the right now problems to a future you might not even be around to see.
And hey, these pillars aren't just abstract theories. We can actually see them play out so vividly in some of the most powerful biblical models of legacy.
Let's take Moses, for example. His whole mission was about way more than just liberation. It was about preservation. He was tasked with creating a whole system of teaching, like a cultural DNA, to make sure that the core truths and God's guidance would be passed down through every single generation that followed. He wasn't just leading for the moment, he was building for the future.
And then, of course, you have the ultimate example, Jesus. Think about it. He didn't build some big physical kingdom. Instead, he poured everything he had into a small group of people. Through his direct mentorship, his teaching, and his own example, he equipped them to carry a message that would literally reshape the world. His legacy wasn't an institution, it was the people he empowered.
And this right here, this is the instruction that sets it all into motion, the Great Commission. But notice the super specific language here. It's not just go and tell, it's go and teach. This is an explicit command to replicate, to create a self-multiplying legacy of knowledge and transformation that spreads across the entire world.
So seeing these incredible models, it really raises a huge question. What's the ultimate goal here? What truly drives someone to lead in this way?
Well, the answer completely flips our normal ideas about motivation on their head. This isn't about building a big name for yourself or getting any personal glory. The entire focus is on something so much bigger. Making sure the mission and the truth continue through the very people you've empowered to lead after you're gone.
And this really shows a fundamental contrast in mindset. I mean, so much of what we call leadership today is pretty temporary. It focuses on the self, on building a personal platform and getting those short-term results. Legacy leadership just flips that script entirely. It focuses on others. It's fundamentally about building people for the long haul.
All right, so this is where we bring it all home. We're going to move from these big conceptual ideas to something deeply personal. How can we actually start to apply this principle of legacy in our own lives?
And that leads us to a really challenging, reflective question we've got to ask ourselves. Are you just performing a role, or are you intentionally shaping the leaders who are going to follow you? Is the influence you have today actually designed to last?
So what does that look like in practice? Well, it really comes down to three deliberate actions. First, you have to reflect. Take an honest, hard look at the impact you're having right now. Second, you commit. Make a conscious decision that yes, you are going to mentor and guide other people. And third, and this part is key, you empower them. Don't just teach them, give them the trust and the tools they need to carry the work forward all on their own. Look, building a legacy, it sounds huge, right? But it doesn't start with some grand 10-year plan. It starts with a single step. So, looking at everything we've just covered, what is that one intentional thing you will do today to begin building a legacy?
Thank you for watching. Please share, like, and comment. Your host, God's servant David F. Nwefulu.